It's time for Mornings at 8 with Jonathan Mark on AM 1480 WLEA.
Oh, yes, it is time for Mornings at 8, and here we are. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. Tuesday, as I've said before, the best that can be said for Tuesday is, at least it's not Monday all over again, so we needn't go over the start of the week all over again. Well, yeah, kind of chilly out there. Brian, what's the temperature?
35.
35. Yeah, just a little chilly, but they should be warming up again just a little bit toward the end of the week, so that's not bad. Well, we are expecting momentarily a phone call from Mayor. Oh, he's on the line right now. Oh, good. Mayor, are you there?
I am here. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, I'm very glad that you're available this morning because we all need an update on the fire. So probably, A number one, I guess, what's the status of those who were displaced? There were, 8 families and 21 people affected?
Yes, and we've been working very hard in unison with the Red Cross, and our codes department has been working with area landlords to identify which landlords have openings so we can get those folks in different apartments and new accommodations so they can have a landing spot. And we've been working very hard the last couple of days to do so. And some of the families are taken care of, and some others we're still working on more permanent accommodations. But we're making really good progress and great strides in really what is a short time.
Now there was an offer by both Econo Lodge and Best Western that the victims could stay there. So I think we have to give Econo Lodge and Best Western a lot of credit there.
Absolutely, and they've been working through the Red Cross as well, and obviously that's a kind of a short-term fix. We're looking for a longer term, but it's really amazing. Those two hotels, and not to mention just the area business community has donated so much pizzas and all of the different food items and clothing items, and just the community itself. The donations have been pouring in nonstop since the fire broke out, and really hasn't let up at all. Now,
I think as I recall from yesterday, the Hornell Art Center on the Broadway Mall is accepting donations. Is that right?
Yes. So the night of the fire, the high school opened up, and Superintendent Pilati opened up the cafeteria and offered everyone kind of a landing place, a warmth, shelter. They had food, beverages for those displaced folks over in the affected area, and obviously the school can't sustain that because Monday rolls around and they have classes. So we moved everything from the high school over to the community arts center, and we had just an army of volunteers yesterday. I mean, it was really just a sight to behold. Just people coming in off the streets, just wanting to pitch in and help out, lend a helping hand. And so we set up just dozens of tables, and we started sorting through all the clothing items, try to separate them into men's and women's, toiletries and kitchenware and just food items. And so we have it all organized, and as the day progressed, just more and more donations were pouring in. The outpouring of support in this community is second to none. And I can tell you, I've been born and raised here in the city of Hornell. Never really wanted to live anywhere else, and I don't think I've ever been more proud of my community than I am right now.
Absolutely. I was speaking to someone yesterday about this, and they said, well, because there are a number of children there, too. There are adults and children. So what are the ages of that? Like, what do people donate? Like, what sizes? Or are they young children or older children or what?
Well, yeah, that's a great question because at first everyone was just donating whatever they had, which is great. But after a while, everything started to pile up, so we had to kind of throttle back a little bit. And today, last night, really into today, we're trying to take stock of what the individual needs are because there's a wide range of children, adults. as we get especially into the cold months, we need to know what size jackets do you need, what size hats and gloves, for the children, what size pajamas do they need?
Right.
And there's some mothers to be. There's some that are expecting babies in the coming months. So we're trying to make accommodations for them as well, because you have to remember, most of these people didn't have time to get their belongings out. They literally just got out with the clothes that were on their back. They're starting from scratch. They have really nothing from their homes that they had to flee, and so it's a tough, it's a very difficult position to be in, but. The way the community has rallied is just simply amazing.
Well, as I said yesterday, it really was a miracle that there were no injuries. I mean,
yes. It really is. You look at the devastation, the 5 houses on Preston and the 3 houses on Washington. You look at those aerial shots from the drone photos, and it looks like a war zone. I would never in my wildest imagination ever think that something like that, a scene like that could play out in the city of Hornell. You look at the aerial photos, and you would think it was, something out of a war movie.
I thought the same thing. Yeah,
exactly. But to your point, though, it is a miracle, and I said this yesterday. It's a miracle that there was no loss of life. There were some pets that were lost. Some dogs and cats that were lost in the fire, and obviously our heart breaks for those people that lost their pets. And for a lot of people, pets are like children, and it means a lot to
yeah,
those
you're
folks.
right.
And I had some conversations with some of the family members, and especially there was this young couple that they're expecting their first child, and they lost 2 dogs in the fire, and that's what they knew. I remember before my wife and I had children, we had a dog, and our dog was like our child before we had a child, and so I can definitely relate to that, as I know many of the listeners can as well. But we're doing all we can to help them and get everyone back on their feet and make sure that they have all the things that they need.
Well, I was speaking with someone who was on the scene on Sunday. And they said that the heat was so intense that whether this is true or not, I don't know, but the heat was so intense that it melted more than 100 feet of fire hose. Is that true?
Well, it actually melted numerous fire hoses, and actually our pumper truck, the rear of the truck, the tail lights on both sides are melted. And
holy cow.
Yeah, it's really amazing, just the intensity of the heat, and you have to remember, that when you have numerous structure fires like that on a street that is so narrow, that one-way street, and then you have the crick wall that you're up against, there's very little room, little to no room to maneuver these trucks. So, during the aerial, when you see those aerial shots and you see a fire truck stationed on either side, but there's nothing in the middle, well, that's why, because it's you can't operate right in those flames. The equipment can't take that. The street itself was superheated to such a degree from the fire that when the firemen were laying out the hose and trying to get it ready, the hoses were literally melting on the street. And I was down at the fire department last night just inspecting, just kind of taking stock of, all the damaged equipment. And there were just, numerous fire hoses that were, wound up on the ground that were just damaged and lost. So, we'll have to replace all those. Obviously, we have plenty of hoses back at the fire station. There's no shortage of them. We always keep extra in stock, but it's just the intensity of the fire itself was, just something that we're not really accustomed to.
We're speaking with Hornell Mayor John Buckley, and we're talking about the fire Sunday on Preston Avenue. A fire of that magnitude and all those houses involved, it would take a lot of cooperation, I would imagine, between fire departments.
Oh, it was nothing short of but amazing. It starts with the police department. The police were first on scene, and our police officers, and Sergeant Ryan Harrison was first amongst them. Going door to door, kicking in doors in some instances, just to make sure that the houses were empty and evacuated, trying to get those people out of harm's way. And I can't say enough about our guys at the fire department. They just they worked their tails off. Just did an amazing job under extremely difficult circumstances. The call went out almost immediately for mutual aid. The fire departments and volunteer fire departments in North Hornell, South Hornell, Canisteel, Arkport, Fremont were all on scene, all pitching in. We had county public safety coordinator come down. He was pitching in as well. And we had all these different fire departments working together in tandem, in unison. There wasn't anyone tripping over each other, no one questioning anything. Everyone just did what they had to do. And I give a lot of credit to our new fire chief, Frank Brzezowski. I mean, I can't say enough about Frank. Chief Brzezowski has done such an amazing job, and just talk about someone who's a seasoned veteran and really just a pro's pro. Always knows what to do. No situation's too big for him. Just knows how to handle it, and we're just very fortunate to have someone like that at the helm of the fire department. But all those guys just did an amazing job, and fought long and hard. This isn't just some structure fire that they show up at and knock it down within 20 or 30 minutes. This thing raged on for hours, and. Wow. Just the intensity of it is, unlike anything I've seen.
I've found out years ago that at a fire scene, the person with more authority than anybody else is the fire chief. Is that right? I think.
Oh yeah. Actually, yeah. That's definitely a true statement. I mean, he's the one calling the shots and directing which pumpers need to be where the ladder truck needs to be deployed, and where we need the manpower, where do we need to where do we need more assets. Obviously we had to deploy assets not just on Preston itself, but over on Washington, because there was many houses on Washington that were affected, and some that caught fire. So we had not just one structure fire, but we had 5 on Preston and really 3 other houses on Washington, and just because of the proximity of the houses, and these houses, if you ever go down there, they were built right on top of each other.
Oh yeah, they're shoulder to shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that old saying, borrow a cup of sugar from your neighbor. Well, these houses, you could literally open your window and there you go. That's how close these houses were. But when one catches and burns to the extent that it did, it doesn't take much to jump to the neighboring structures. And with the wind the way it was, pushing north, all that heat and the embers started affecting those homes on Washington Street, and some of those caught fire as well. But it's just it's sad, it's unfortunate, and I just don't know what else to say other than our guys did an amazing job. There was no loss of life, and I can't say enough about our first responders.
If you're near a bonfire outside, let's say in the fall or something, or in the summer, it's hot by the fire. Now, if you're a firefighter and you're facing an inferno like that, I mean, it's got to be hard physically on the firefighters.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys are well trained. They go through schooling, and they take even after they're firemen, they still continue their education and take advanced courses and deal with this, and they do simulations and there's mock fires that they they'll do throughout their career and the training and all that. But when you're facing the real deal and you have to stand up to something like that, that's a different ball of wax. It really is. But our guys performed amazingly. They stepped up to it. They didn't shy away. They fought, and they fought bravely. They fought courageously, and in what were less than ideal circumstances. And again, just that tight street with the lack of mobility and the lack of it's not like they could put 5 fire trucks right on the street just because of the proximity from the flames to the crick wall. Usually, you have a street and you can get, two trucks side by side on it, one going in one direction, another going in the other direction, and kind of stack your assets accordingly. But just because of the tight quarters that they were confined to, they couldn't do that. But thank God we have that ladder truck, because that could have been a whole heck of a lot worse without that piece of equipment.
Now, all the houses that were affected, will they all be torn down?
Well, some of them are just burnt down to the ground now. And then there's a couple others that are standing, but barely standing. So, we expect that those will be demolished, in short order. The ones on Washington streets, they'll have to be. I know there's one that really took it on the chin and suffered extensive damage. But we'll have to, when the time comes, we'll have to make the determination, if that's salvageable or a candidate for demolition. I think the other houses on Washington Street that were affected, obviously, there's smoke and water and soot damage, but I think they can be salvaged. So we're really looking at the 5 on Preston Ave and potentially one on Washington. Although I think we might be able to save all 3 on Washington.
Okay. Well, Mayor, once again, if people want to donate, I know that a bank in Hornell is accepting monetary donations, and I don't recall which one.
Yeah, so a lot of people want to donate money and gift cards and checks, and in the early stages we didn't really have a way or a means to collect all that. Some people were bringing, dropping off cash at the high school, dropping off cash at City Hall, dropping off cash or gift cards down at the Art Center. So we partnered with Catholic Charities and Maple City Savings Bank, and they've set up an account exclusively for the victims of this fire. So anyone that's willing or wanting to donate cash, gift cards, or now they can accept checks as well, go down to Maple City Savings Bank and let them know, and they'll happily take that and set that aside for those victims.
Okay. Well, Mayor, thank you. Is there anything else you'd care to say about this? That I haven't covered? Again,
I just keep going back to, what a tremendous, community effort and just the community support, and I'm just taken aback. It's just amazing. I've never, and I can't say I'm surprised because this is Hornell and this is what we do, but just to see it all play out and to the degree that it played out is nothing short of amazing. And just my hats off to all the supporters and all the residents out there that have pitched in, volunteered their time, their donated clothing items, donated food items, donated money. It's just nothing short of amazing. So just a huge thank you to everyone who's pitched in.
Right. Congratulations, Candacio Valley area. And Mayor, thank you for your time this morning. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you, and have a great day.
Well, you too, Mayor. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, insurance. Well, you could do no better than the Ryan agencies. They have offices in Hornell, Jasper, and Wellsville. They're local, as I just said, and they have a great website. It is, oddly enough, ryanagency.com. How do you like that? Anyway, you can find a lot on their web. I mean, it's very, very informative and handy. You can pay your bill online. How do you like that? You can report a claim, email an agent, get a quote, meet the staff. You really ought to check out this website. It's cool. Get a discount code for a defensive driving course and leave a review, among other things. So, the Ryan Agency, they are local, they're professional, they do the insurance shopping for you, which is really tough if you don't know what you're doing. They are the Ryan Agencies.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
In the NFL, we had Monday Night Football in Mexico City, an AFC West clash as the Chiefs downed the Chargers 24-17. The Chargers won the statistical battle offensively, but they did not win the turnover battle as quarterback Phillip Rivers threw 4 interceptions. For Kansas City, their star young quarterback Patrick Mahomes had a down game, 182 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But Kansas City gets the win, improves to 7-4, and remains on top of the AFC West, and they're the number 3 seed right now in the AFC playoffs. The Chargers fall to 4-7. NBA games of note, the Clippers top the Thunder 90-88. Paul George hit the go-ahead three-pointer with 25 seconds left. Clippers win without star Kawhi Leonard. He missed his third straight game with a knee contusion. Rockets won their eighth straight, beating the Trailblazers 132-108. James Harden had 36 points. Russell Westbrook a triple-double for Houston as they improved to 11-3. Mavericks get a career night from Luka Doncic. He had 42 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists in a 117-110 win over the Spurs.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stocks falling as investors sifted through a slew of earnings reports today, with the Dow falling 19 points, the Nasdaq down 49, S&P 500 down 3. And shares of plant-based meat company Beyond Meat were far from sizzling today on Wall Street, falling over 22%, marking the end of Beyond Meat's lockup period. For the first time since its IPO, early investors can sell the stock. Now, despite the sell-off, Beyond Meat reported a much bigger profit than expected for its third quarter. Shares of Mattel spiking after hours, around 18%, after the toy maker posted better than expected earnings for the third quarter as newer models boosted demand for its flagship Barbie brand, and the launch of dolls based on Korean pop sensation BTS lifted international sales. Mattel also announcing it will be hiring a new chief financial officer in the wake of a whistleblower investigation relating to its accounting practices. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. And right now, get your first online visit totally free when you go to forhims.com/joy. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/joy. forhims.com/joy.
Today at Simmons Rockwell Hyundai, drive away in a new Hyundai Tucson lease for only $229 a month. A new 2019 all-wheel drive Hyundai Tucson SE model equipped with 17-inch alloy wheels, touchscreen media, and rear view monitor. Lease with no money down for $229 a month for 36 months. Only tax and DMV fees are due at signing. Shop Simmons-Rockwell.com.
Okay, and we are back. Okay, let me see. Statewide in Albany, there was a state assemblyman, Steve Hawley. He's from the Albany area up north. And you're aware, I think it was 2 weeks ago, where 3 students were charged with making a threat on Albany Middle School. It seemed pretty violent, and they were looked like they planned this attack with firearms and, all that. Wowee. So this state assemblyman, Steve Hawley, wants school resource officers in every school statewide. Every school statewide after this threat at the Albion Middle School. And under his proposed bill, he's calling for all school resource officers to be properly trained veterans or retired law enforcement officers. The measure would give $50,000 in state grants to each school district that hires a school resource officer. And unfortunately, sad but true, I think that's a good idea, the times being what they are. Now the question is, would it be a one-time grant? Would it be a one-time $50,000 state grant? Or would it go on year after year, which seems, I don't know. But if it's a one-time grant, if you have a school resource officer, he or she still must be paid. So I don't know where that money would come from, but unfortunately, I think it is a good idea, a school resource officer in each school. And advertising. I love advertising. Advertising it's an art. I mean, advertising is an art, and I am fascinated by advertising on radio and TV because you have only a couple of seconds. When you think of it, you have only a couple of seconds to tell a story, make it memorable, and sell a product. So you're selling a product, make it memorable, and it's fascinating. Like a lot of people fast forward through commercials on TV. I watch them. Never mind the movie, never mind the show. Just give me the commercials. But it's fascinating watching this stuff. And it's really interesting. But sometimes these campaigns kind of go a little south, such as South Dakota is suffering a really bad methamphetamine problem. So they hired a company in Minnesota for $500,000 to come up with a campaign against meth, which seems like a great idea. But apparently their catchphrase is meth, I'm on it. Or meth, we're on it. So meth, where like to be on a problem, you're attacking a problem, I'm on it, right? Well, this doesn't really, there's a couple of ways to interpret we're on it, or I'm on it. So they have these individuals on posters and billboards, meth, I'm on it, or meth, we're on it. So, I don't know, the governor of South Dakota, very nice lady apparently, says it's a great idea, and people are saying, really? Meth, we're on it? Yeah, that really doesn't sound too, a little ambiguous there, I think, at the least. Anyway, okay, fine, that's it for this morning show, and I will see you tomorrow at 8:05-ish. Bye.